If you love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz, and I'm here today with...
Kim Shactman.
Kim, how are you today?
Doing well.
Oh my God. My voice cracked a little, didn't it?
That's okay.
Yeah, it happens.
It'll be okay.
No, we all go through puberty at 40, so yes, absolutely. All right, so we are here to review the 1940 screwball classic, The Philadelphia Story, starring Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart, directed by George Cukor. I chose this because I choose them all. Let's just be fair.
Because your birthday's coming, right?
Yeah, birthday's coming, baby. So you have to watch something I want. And now that I know that you can handle black and white films since you like Psycho so much, I thought, why not do a comedy? Because you are a romantic comedy fan like I am.
Yes.
And I didn't want to give you, I think, one of my favorites just yet, but I wanted to watch this. And I got to ask something here. And it's a very silly question that I have.
Oh, God, I'm nervous.
Okay. So I want to preface this by, I am 100% straight.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So here we go. How fucking handsome is Cary Grant?
He's hot.
Oh my God.
He's hot.
Holy shit. Like,
even James Stewart is really easy on the eyes.
My God. Okay, so that shocked me too. When I saw James Stewart, I was like, holy shit, he's young. I was like, holy crap.
He looks great.
Oh God. I'm used to James Stewart like in Anatomy of a Murder, Vertigo, stuff like that, where he's a good-looking man, but I'm used to him being older, but, like, charming still. When I saw him there, it's like, oh, my God, he's a baby. Holy shit. Holy shit. But Cary Grant, man, let me tell you something. Like, every movie I've seen Cary Grant in, okay, I like him in his movies that he's in. But what strikes me right away is the first one you see him, it goes, damn, he's handsome. But then he's such a good actor that it doesn't really distract from his performance, really.
No, it doesn't.
There's a lot of actors who are just so damn attractive that you can't help but watch them and go, God, they're pretty.
Well, that's like last week when we did Barbie, and we were like, Ryan Gosling, right? Like, he's just a pretty man.
True. And that's a good point, because I would my criticism of him really is I don't think he's that good of an actor, but I think he's just that good looking that it kind of masks his faults. But Cary Grant is an actor that is not only incredibly attractive, but has no problem doing the role that he has to do and nailing it. Like, he's really
with such ease.
Yes.
Like, I was watching him, I'm like, wow. Like, smooth.
Right. And he does comedies mostly. So, like, screwball comedies, physical comedies. He did another one with Katharine Hepburn called Bringing Up Baby, where he is basically a goof throughout the entire film. But when you see someone that handsome in that role, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, do I believe it? But you do believe it in Cary Grant.
Yeah. Like, and I haven't seen really, like, barely any, like, older films.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like me seeing these actors and actresses for the first time, if you really think about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, and I highly agree. Like, he's good.
Oh yeah, he's very good. But that anytime I watch him, I just watch and go, damn, he's handsome. Holy shit, he's handsome.
He is handsome.
All right, so let us get into the review of The Philadelphia Story, directed by George Cukor. Now, before we get into the review, let's get into the plot. Basically, the film is about Tracy Lord, who is played by Katharine Hepburn. Tracy gets divorced to oh God, what's the initials? Crap. We'll call him
CK.
Okay, CK, that's right.
CK Dexter Haven.
Yes, so she gets divorced by CK Dexter Haven, played by Cary Grant, because of her drinking and her basic demeanor. And then as the film goes on, she's about to get married to a second person, George Kittredge, played by John Howard. And the film basically is about her getting married to George, but Dexter basically crashing the wedding while being attached to a reporter played by James Stewart.
Yes.
And basically the film is, will Tracy get through this marriage, to get through the wedding, essentially, in this film. This is a screwball comedy. Do you know what a screwball comedy is?
Not really, no.
So, the screwball comedy is a type of film is very, very popular during the Great Depression era. It's basically a role reversal on most comedies where the female character is the more dominating character in the movie and the man is the more meek character, and it's a more of a battle of the sexes kind of movie. But
yeah,
it
I
is
just
a romantic.
Googled it.
Yeah,
and you're dead on. Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly
It's a romantic comedy, but the dynamics are reversed. But it's done in a very comedic way. It's a very classic screwball comedy.
Well, so far I like screwball comedies.
Oh, and this ain't the best one either. So we'll get to some more on there. So let's get into our 3 points. We agree mostly on our points here, so let's get...
For the most part, yes.
So, Kim, get into our first point.
So, obviously, like we just kind of mentioned, the comedy, or the entire film that kept me entertained was the comedy portion of it. A lot of wit, and it kept it lively. There were a ton of good one-liners, but I can't remember them.
Right.
And I think because there's so many, like one right after another, and it makes it entertaining. So, yeah.
Right. Like, comedy now, not that I don't like comedy now, I do, but comedy now wants to... It emphasizes on the punchline. So when something happens, it lets it breathe in so you can react accordingly. Yeah, so you can react accordingly to the comedy. Screwball comedy, especially this one, it just keeps going and going and going and going. And it actually trusts you to actually be able to
pick up on it.
Not only just to pick up, but to keep going on it. Just be like, oh, you can handle this. Here we go. Here's another one.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And like a couple times I was like, oh, wait, like, did they just say that? That's hilarious. You know, like it took me like a minute. Like I was like, oh yeah, like that was so enjoyable. I was like, this movie's hilarious.
Right. Yeah. And the best part too is the timing, because a lot of the timing is very fast and fluid, and you would need to have really good actors to be able to, just to make it not only fast, but to make it feel fluid and make it not feel awkward. And the actors here do a really good job of it, and it takes a lot of charisma and a lot of what's the word? Like a team dynamic of sorts, like to be able to
it's
bounce
like
off
back and forth,
yeah,
right?
in order to back and forth with each other, in order to do that, and all the actors do a really good job at it. Especially, I think the 3 main actors, which are Katharine, Hepburn, James Stewart, and Cary Grant. They do an excellent.
Oh, they call it a double act as a form of comedy. Yeah,
I agree with you. It's a very witty, very funny comedy.
I love the wit in it. I think it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, and it's very light too. Like comedy now that is more witty tends to be not darker, but a little bit heavier.
Kind of mean.
Oh yeah, it can be like, biting. It can be
kind
venomous.
of nasty. Yeah,
and it's not like this movie isn't biting either. There are scenes in it where it's like, ooh, that's a little harsh, but they do it in such a nonchalant way, and the actors take it in stride, I guess, where it's not as dramatic. But it's a fun movie. I definitely agree with you on that. Second point I want to get into. I think Hepburn and Stewart are excellent in this movie. I think they're the best part of this movie. The supporting actors are very good. I like Cary Grant in it, but I'm glad that you mentioned Virginia Wilder. Or is it or is it Weidler?
Weidler, yeah.
Virginia Weidler, the young girl who plays Dinah Lord.
I loved her.
Yeah.
Like even from the very beginning, like the very first scene of the movie, she stood out to me. I was like, she's just like really making the rest of the actors and actresses like more pronounced in a way. I don't know. I just really liked her. She was good.
I think what's interesting about that character specifically and that actress, I haven't seen a lot of older films, but some child actors are just there to be cute and just to be like, oh, hi, Dad. But when you have
do a couple little lines and be done with it.
Right.
Yeah.
When you have a good one that can actually handle the scene and can do well with the other actors, it really is interesting to watch. And she was particularly good in a couple of scenes in the film, especially with James Stewart in the film. Like
when they first meet him.
Yeah, it is
hilarious.
It is
I was like,
very
this is so cute.
Yeah, it's a very funny scene.
Yeah, she did a good job.
I'm glad you mentioned her. She was very good in that. But I do have to point out, I think Stewart and Hepburn are probably the best parts of the film. I'm already a fan of Stewart, but I've never seen him, A, this young, and B, this exuberantly witty. it is so funny to see him. Like when you watch Stewart in his older films now, let's say Vertigo, stuff like that.
I didn't realize that he's in It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes, he's George Bailey.
I didn't realize. I've only seen that movie once or twice.
Yeah, he has a much more homespun charm, like a very how do I make that like
jolly.
Yeah, I mean not jolly, but like I guess jolly for that kind of movie. But like,
I guess
he's got a charm that is very easygoing. That is like, oh yeah, I'm James Stewart. Like I'm a good guy. I'm very likable. That's not him in this movie. He is actually very he's just as biting as the rest. But
right.
I have never seen him that way. But he does it very well in this movie. I was very surprised by it, and this is the one that won him the Oscar, which I was surprised by. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, I thought he was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you mentioned at the beginning, I even thought Cary Grant was really good too as a supporting actor because he didn't steal the limelight. You know what I mean? Like he was there and he served his purpose really, really well, and he did it with ease. But James and Stewart were kind of supposed to be front and center, and they were, and it just worked.
I thought Grant and Hepburn were going to be the main people in this film, but I
did too. That's exactly what I thought, and I was like, "Wait, what's going on here?"
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, "Wow, this is really good. Like this works, and it's working fluidly." And then they did it really well. I thought it was funny.
Now I have to mention Hepburn. Okay, so Hepburn is a great actress. She's very good at this type of role, and I want to point out how easy it was to recognize why she is such a tough person to be around, but also why these men adore her. It's like, I have experience with this type of woman, unfortunately. So it's hard for some people to recognize why would you want to be with somebody that domineering. But her character is done so well that you can instantly see why people can't stand her at times, but then why they are utterly charmed by her. She is somebody that men want to be with. She still
like draws them in. Yeah.
Absolutely, and she does it really well in this movie, like exceptionally well. Okay, Kim. So why don't we get to your third point?
I really enjoyed actually the plot of the film. I thought it really complemented the comedy of it, and kind of driving home like the dynamics between all the different characters and what they were trying to accomplish with the comedic value of it, I guess. So I enjoyed the plot. I thought it was smart to do that and to have it be, kind of the back and forth when it comes to like marriages and such.
Right. So. The plot is pretty good for a screwball
I just thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was smart for like the comedic value for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get right into my point, I guess, with that because I think it's kind of the opposite of your point to a certain extent.
It is and it isn't. Yeah,
right.
And I do kind of also agree with your point a bit too. Yeah.
So I do agree that the plot works for the comedy, and I think it is very well done. The only thing that I wish is that the class dynamics were more focused in this film. Towards the beginning of the film, they do make a point to show that Macaulay Connor, which is Stewart's character, has a particular distaste for the socialites and the wealthy.
Right.
And that shows up a lot in the beginning of the film, especially in a very funny sequence when the rich people realize who they are and what they have to do. It is a great scene.
It really is. It's so funny.
But then after that scene, it just dissipates really quick.
It kind of dies off. Yeah, and that's why I completely agree with you. I'm like, does he still not really care for those type of people? Or is he just, you know what I mean? It was a little bit confusing.
It just kind of goes away. Now, I don't think that makes the film particularly bad. I still really like the film, but this would have been something where I would say this would have been a great movie to an amazing movie if they were to also add more of the class dynamics in this. But since they didn't, it kind of fell off. I was like, I kind of missed that part. I wish they could have went more with that.
Because I think, too, they could have added even more comedy, utilizing that on a little bit of a deeper level. But maybe too, like, I wouldn't want them to go into it too much though, because then maybe it could get a little dark, right?
It would get a little serious, absolutely. That aspect kind of dropped off, and I kind of wish it kind of stayed in there a little more. But since it didn't, I don't think it hurts the film that much. But I just think
It's something you noticed.
Yeah, I thought it was a little weird, but yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I agree with you. I still thought the plot was great for the comedy it was showing.
Me too.
All right, Kim. So, who do you recommend this for?
So I recommend this for witty comedy lovers because it's so freaking funny. Like I actually do kind of want to rewatch this because I thought it was really, really funny.
Yeah.
And then those who really enjoy older films, like black and white films. Again, this is my third black and white film that we've watched together, and I liked it. It didn't bother me. And then I was telling Wiz earlier, like, at the very beginning of the film, you can tell like the specific year that the film is from, like 1940s, with the way they kind of talk. And it was hard for me to get a little used to that in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then as it's just the dialect, right? And that's normal for that time. And like, I was like, oh, this is a little bit annoying to me. And then as the film went on, like, I don't know if I just got used to it or it was just maybe me just not knowing. I don't know. But if you're okay with the type of dialect from the 1940s, then yeah, you'll be able to enjoy the film.
We also discussed this before the recording. I want to point out, too, that if you hear that and go, oh, I'm not going to understand what's going on, like lingo and slang, essentially, slang really hasn't changed much as the years go by. It's just said differently. So when you hear it for like the first 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to pick up right away what they're actually saying. So, yes, you're going to hear it and go, what the hell they mean? You're going to pick it up real quick. So,
yes, that is a good point. Like, don't knock it until you try it, really, right? Listen. And then, like I said, like at first I was like, what is this? Like, their voices are kind of annoying me. And then probably like another like 5-10 minutes in, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I get it now.
So who do you not recommend this for?
Those that expect John Howard to have a larger role in the film. Like, I'll be very honest and transparent because you're going to think this is funny, Wiz, but I got John Howard and Cary Grant confused at first. Like, I thought that Cary Grant was going to be playing the role that John Howard played, like before I started watching the movie. Like, I don't know why I thought that. I just did. So then I was like, oh, wait, no, that's a different person. So, you know, if you are a John Howard fan, great, but he doesn't have a large role in the film. Mm. He's there, but he's not there as much as you think he is there.
Yeah.
And then people who enjoy serious films about romance, right? This is like 110% of comedy.
I would say that the romance really is like a backseat in the film, really.
Right, exactly. The comedy is front and center. But yeah, like if you're like, oh, this looks like a nice 1940s romance because it has, you know, these really good looking people in it. Yeah, but it's 110% a comedy, not so much a romance. So
you don't expect to have a box of tissues with you when you're
correct. There's no crying in this movie, only if you're laughing so hard that you can't help but cry.
Oh, you almost took my line. There you go.
Look at us finishing each other's sentences. It's so stupid.
Man, what have I done to you? Anyway. Who do I recommend this for? I recommend this for people if you like classic screwball comedies. I mean, God, this is one of the best ones out there. I like It Happened One Night a little bit more, but still, this is a great movie if you haven't seen it, or Bringing Up Baby. I recommend this for if you are a James Stewart fan. Like I said, I have never seen him so young. That surprised me.
He's so cute. He's so handsome.
That surprised me. Like, oh my God, he's young. Holy crap. And I am a James Stewart. I am more and more becoming a big James Stewart fan.
I didn't even realize who he was until I looked him up, and then I'm like, ooh.
Oh,
I'm a really good fan of this guy.
when you hear his voice, though, it's kind of like, oh, that's James Stewart. Like, okay. And then third, I recommend this for if you prefer a more verbal comedy. Some people prefer their comedy to be more physical. But this is very much a comedy where all the dialogue is where all the comedy is. So
people aren't like hitting each other over the head with something and making you laugh. Like, it's like one-liners and
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So if you prefer that that type of comedy, I would go for that. Also, it's a very clean comedy. So if you like something that's a little more
Appropriate.
dirty, I would say dirty. Like, if you like something that's a little more dirty, then I would say avoid it. But yeah, like if it's something where there is some what they call pillow talk, but it's very clean.
Yes.
Then go
Like
ahead.
if you had children in the room, they'd have no idea.
Oh yeah, God. Definitely. If you had children in the room, they would walk out.
Yeah, they'd be like, "What are you watching? Black and white? What the heck?" They'd be like, "They have TV like this?"
Oh yeah. I've had a conversation with my nephew once where I was watching a black and white film. He was like, "Was that popular when you were a kid, Uncle Wiz?" And I'm like, "Oh, you fucking kid." Shit. No, this is I think the film I was watching, this was well before your grandparents were born. It's like,
I was gonna say, why don't you talk to your great grandma? Like, they're dead. Exactly.
Good taste doesn't die, kid.
Yeah. Sit down. I'll teach you something.
Oh, I tried. It didn't work. So who do I not recommend this for? I do not recommend this for people if you want a more fish out of water film. Again, like for the first half, they kind of hinted towards it, but then it kind of went away after that certain point. Fish Out of Water is, I guess, a movie where you chronicling where a character is where they don't normally belong. So
That makes sense.
yeah, and then the other I don't recommend this for is if the gender dynamics make you uncomfortable. I have to say this right off the bat. It didn't bother me as much in this movie, but there is some misogyny, some philandering. They kind of they kind of
Didn't bother me either, but you're absolutely right.
They kind of look past the fact that there is how do I put this? There's a lot of pinching of women's butts in the film. Yeah.
The uncle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then in the beginning, you see the Cary Grant push Katharine Hepburn in frustration and disgust.
Oh, yes. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
The very, very beginning of the film. It's the very first scene. I was like, oh, is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
With this film?
And the character is kind of treated as, you know what? It is what it is. So if you are uncomfortable with that, you might want to avoid it. It is not in the film all that much, but it's there.
It's not terrible, but it is there.
Yeah. They're not like beating the crap out of Katharine Hepburn.
No.
Like,
drowning her in the pool, nothing like that. Don't worry, guys.
Honestly, though, if anything, it would probably when Katharine Hepburn beating the crap out of Cary Grant, if that were to actually happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. If you do not want to watch that it's there, don't watch it. Overall, Kim, do you recommend The Philadelphia Story?
I do. I really liked it. I want to rewatch it. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
like I want to sit down. I know this sounds cheesy, but I want to sit down and watch this with my parents because I think that like my husband, like I don't think he really gets the screwball comedy. Like he doesn't appreciate it, but I feel like my stepmother and maybe even my dad too would think it's great because they just like that type of comedy. And it's like they also really like clean comedy. Like they don't, Yes, I highly recommend it.
I would recommend you see It Happened One Night. That is my favorite screwball comedy.
It's one night.
And it's one of my favorite romantic comedies. So so I would say if you really like this, see It Happened One Night. That was a really good movie. I also recommend this film. I think it's a great film. I think it's really funny. It's not my number one favorite of screwball comedies, but my God, like it just that is attached to It Happened One Night in movies like that, I think is great. I really like the fact that you like this because there's a lot more that we can watch that I think you will enjoy as well. So
that's cool. I'm pumped.
Let's make sure we do that. So overall, me and Kim both recommend The Philadelphia Story. If you haven't seen it, check it out. You had to rent it on like Google or YouTube, right?
I had to rent it because my Tubi app was not working. It's supposed to be on Tubi, but I don't think it is.
I tried it on Tubi as well. They said they would notify you when it's there. It's just not there right now.
Oh, got it. So I think it was like $2 or $3.
I already had the Criterion Collection disc, so I was like, pop it in.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Fancy.
So, you know what? So it is in the Criterion Collection if you want to purchase it there, but you can also rent it for $3. Definitely give it a watch. It's a great movie.
For sure.
Now, if you want my full review on this movie, you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. You'll have my full written review right on the site, along with a link to the video that has this review that you've just listened to. All right, Kim, so for next time, let's go over the films that I am reviewing next week. The theme that we're going for next week is films about Jewish families or people, or with prominent Jewish actors or filmmakers, in celebration of Hanukkah. On Tuesday, I'm going to review The Fabelmans, directed by Steven Spielberg. Thursday, I'll be reviewing Everything is Illuminated, directed by Liev Schreiber. Saturday, Kim, what are we reviewing?
An American Tail.
Fievel!
With the little mouse. He's so cute.
We were talking about this before we recorded. Neither of us really remember American Tail all that much.
Because we were so tiny. I was only like 1 year old, and Wiz was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, and then I found it funny. It's like, I was watching American Tail, and the first thing Kim said was, "The cowboy movie."
No, I was like, Fievel Goes West.
Yes, that's right.
And you're like, why do you remember that one? Like, I don't know. I just do.
Yeah, because Fievel Goes West, I think, was the sequel that came out in the 90s. And I think that's why we remember
were older,
it. Yes, so that's why we remember that one so much. But, this is the original Don Bluth 86 version about them being Russian Jewish immigrants. I'm going to look forward to that. I got to be honest with you, I have not thought about this film in a while, but people who are big animation fans love Don Bluth. Do you know who Don Bluth is?
Well, I'm assuming he's the director.
I believe he is the director, but he created a lot of the animated films.
He did Anastasia.
Yes.
And All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yes.
I love those movies.
Yes.
Thumbelina. Oh, Land Before Time. See, this is like our childhood right here.
Right. So he was in direct competition with Disney during the Disney Renaissance.
Oh.
So that people remember those films, and some people prefer his films, which, okay, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be interesting to see how we come out of American Tail next time.
Yeah, because Wiz and I think we've already seen it, but it's been so long that I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So,
I am fairly certain I have seen it, but I was probably like 3 or 4 when it happened.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
What are we going to do? All right, so tune in next week where me and Kim review An American Tail. I am The Wiz.
And I am Kim Shactman.
Talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.